Imagine a world where no one exists except for one girl and one boy. What could happen between them? Due to changes in the Earth's atmosphere, a catastrophe occurs, wiping out all of humanity. Only a girl and a teenage boy survive. Over time, they develop a close bond and begin living on an unknown island. However, amidst this desolation, another man had also survived. He eventually finds them, and this is where the true mystery of the movie begins. Who is this man? Today, 1SR Movie Recaps. 1 is here to explain such a survival movie. So, without further ado, let's dive straight into the main story. At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a boy named Derek. He is working with a mechanic. While working, they hear on the radio that the Earth's temperature is rising day by day, which could have devastating effects on the entire planet. Next, we are introduced to a girl named Elba. She was on her way to meet her father. Along the way, she takes out her phone and starts recording a video. It seems that she has a habit of recording everything. Elba's father was a scientist. He was conducting some research inside a cave. Curious, Elba asked him, "What are you doing here?" **. Her father replied, "A great disaster might be approaching. Nature is trying to tell us something. We have damaged it in many ways, and now it may be taking revenge on us." Elba continued asking him questions on her phone, eager to learn more. Her father then explained some details about his research. After spending some time there, Elba returned to the city. Later, we see her meeting with Derek. There, Derek's mother, Teddy, arrives, and Elba tells her, "Your son is very talented, but he doesn't focus on his studies properly." Meanwhile, some boys try to provoke Derek. However, Teddy steps in and chases them away. When Elba returns home, she finds her father preparing documents for a trip to Barcelona for an important task. Elba asks him not to go, but since the work is urgent, he has no choice but to leave. As Elba heads toward the city, she notices that the same boys are attacking Derek and trying to push him into the water. She immediately stops her car and rushes to intervene, but before she can do anything, they throw Derek into the water. Without hesitation, Elba jumps in to save him. Derek had already sunk deep into the water. However, at that moment, a powerful storm brews in the sky, and lightning flashes intensely. The strange part is that the lightning's effect could be seen in the water, yet it did not harm them, perhaps because they were deep underwater. Elba manages to reach Derek and pulls him back to the surface. They realize that everything has been destroyed. Lightning is still flashing in the sky as they make their way toward the city. Upon arriving, they are horrified to see that everything has been reduced to ruins. Everyone is dead. Derek rushes to his house, desperate to find his mother, but when he gets there, he discovers that she has already passed away. Overcome with grief, he tries to go to her, but Elba stops him. She senses that the house could collapse at any moment. Moments later, her instincts prove right. The house suddenly explodes, leaving nothing behind. So after a while, Alba goes to that cave where her father was conducting research. She searches everywhere to see if they can find something useful. But at that moment, nothing is found. There is only a blanket, which Alba gives directly. In the morning, Alba returns to their house and finds that it has been destroyed. She then moves to their farmhouse and tries to contact her father, but fails because all networking systems had also been destroyed. They both start exploring the entire city, but there is no one to be found anywhere. Then Alba says, "We will go to Barcelona now." Just ahead, they spot a scooter. They try to start it by pushing it, but the scooter collides with a rock. Alba falls down and gets seriously injured after hitting a rock. Having no other option, they return home. Alba starts reading her father's diary and realizes that her father was right. Nature has become cruel. Alba begins recording everything on her phone. Then she falls asleep. At night, Direct comes to check on her and notices that Alba's wound has become infected. Alba says, "I need antibiotics." Direct responds, "I will get them right away." But Alba insists, "You don't need to go now. It's too dangerous outside. We will go in the morning." Saying this, she goes back to sleep. However, Direct secretly goes out alone. Once outside, fear grips him. He has never gone out alone at night, but to save a life, he must go. So he sets off and, at dawn, returns to administer the antibiotics and apply ointment to Alba's wound. When Alba wakes up, she sees that her wound has healed. She calls Direct and says, "Look, how does the wound look now?" Direct replies, "The wound has healed, but there's a scar that looks like a tattoo." Alba laughs and says, "No problem, I love tattoos." That night, Alba starts filming a video again, documenting everything that has happened to her. No matter what, they must go to Barcelona to find her father. The next morning, Direct wakes up to find that Alba is not in her bed, but there are traces of blood. He gets scared and rushes out to look for her. After some time, Direct finds Alba and asks, "Are you okay?" He sees blood on her leg but cannot understand what happened to her. Direct then says, "You're not okay. Your leg is bleeding." Alba then says, "I've got my period." Direct, having no understanding of periods, looks confused. Alba explains it to him and Direct laughs, saying, "So that means you're ready to have a baby?" Alba quickly changes the subject. Direct then tries to touch her, but Alba stops him and firmly says, "Never do that." Later, Direct is seen practicing shooting a gun. Hearing the gunshots, Alba approaches him and asks, "Where did you get that?" Direct replies, "I found it in a police car." Alba tells him, "Put it back in the police car." But Direct refuses. "I need to learn how to use it. It's my responsibility to protect you now." 3 months pass. Alba realizes that there is no one left to help them. They must now take care of themselves. She starts reading her father's survival guide, how to plant trees, how to produce food. Everything they need to survive is in the book. Over time, they manage to sustain themselves. Alba continues recording everything on her phone. Years pass. Direct grows up significantly. Alba finds herself increasingly drawn to him, but suppresses those feelings. Direct, too, starts feeling something for Alba, though he doesn't fully understand what it means. One day, Alba is watering the plants while Direct is using binoculars to scan the distance. After watering, Alba bathes near the garden and Direct accidentally sees her. This makes his attraction toward her even stronger, but he struggles to understand what this attraction means. Whenever Alba does something, Direct rushes to help her, and whenever they touch, Direct enjoys it. One day, he impulsively kisses Alba and then runs away. Surprisingly, Alba doesn't react negatively. That night, a storm breaks out again. Their entire garden is at risk of being destroyed. Alba rushes outside to save it and Direct follows her. They try to secure everything, but they are no match for the storm. Everything they built is now ruined. Alba says, "At sunrise, we're leaving for Barcelona. We can't stay here anymore." At dawn, Direct arrives with a tractor, the same one we saw at the beginning of the movie. He has finally fixed it. Seeing this, Alba is overjoyed and hugs him. Then they set off toward Barcelona. After several days, they arrive in the city and begin honking the car horn. Alba repeatedly tries to call her father, but his phone is still off. Barcelona is in ruins, just like everywhere else. Alba starts accepting that her father may no longer be alive and decides to stop searching for him, but Direct refuses to give up. "We have to keep looking," he insists. They continue exploring the city until they reach Barcelona Stadium, only to find it completely destroyed. Direct pulls out a football and starts playing. Alba sits and watches. When Direct is about to take a shot toward the goal, Alba says, "Wait, I'll record this on my phone." Direct scores and lifts his t-shirt to celebrate. At that moment, Alba finds herself attracted to his physique. She becomes flustered and her phone slips from her hand. Just as they were getting closer to each other, she quickly picks up her phone, breaking the moment. Direct feels awkward, but Alba reassures him. "I know what this feeling means," she says. "It's completely natural, and the sooner we accept it, the better." From then on, their lives change. They live happily, building a small house by the seaside and gradually gathering everything they need to survive. One day, Alba tells Direct that she is pregnant. They are both overjoyed. In the next scene, Alba visits an abandoned library and reads books about childbirth and childcare, preparing for what's to come. One day, while reading one of her father's notes, she suddenly feels pain in her stomach. She rushes to Direct, who immediately understands what needs to be done. Together, they prepare for the birth. Alba gives birth to a baby boy whom they named Kai. Their happiness grows even more after the baby is born. One day, Alba notices a ship sailing across the sea. She calls for Director. He says, "We're fine here. We don't need anyone else." But Alba isn't convinced. She wonders if her father might be on that ship. Just then, they spot someone washed up on the shore. Alba rushes to check. It's not her father. Still, they take the unconscious man to their home. After a while, he regains consciousness. His name is Sergey. The man Sergey says, "I'm so happy to have found you. I thought I was the only one left alive. Sometimes I take my boat out to search for people." He then adds, "Now that my boat is fixed, I'll be leaving soon." Alba responds, "You're welcome to stay with us if you want." However, Direct doesn't trust him. Sergey picks up on this tension and reassures them, "I'm fine on my boat." As he prepares to leave, Sergey says, "It's been a long time since I hugged anyone. Can I hug you both?" He embraces them and begins to cry. Seeing this, Alba and Direct soften a little. Over time, Sergey starts teaching Direct many new survival skills. Direct learns a lot from him, but he feels uneasy when Alba spends time with Sergey. One day, as Alba is breastfeeding her baby, Sergey secretly watches her. Direct catches him and angrily says, "What are you doing?" Sergey replies, "I was just looking out for Alba. I even brought her some honey. It will help her since she's breastfeeding all day." But Direct is furious. He tells Sergey, "Your boat is fixed now. You can leave whenever you want." As Sergey prepares to depart, he says, "I've stayed at your home for a long time. If you want, you can stay on my boat for a while. It'll be fun." Alba agrees without hesitation, and they both board the boat. Sergey says, "Stay on the boat tonight. I have a surprise for you." Direct doesn't want to stay, but he agrees for Alba's sake. That night, Sergey sets up a projector and plays a movie. Alba is overjoyed. She hasn't seen a film in years. As they watch, they slowly drift off to sleep. Direct wakes up early in the morning and realizes that they have drifted far from the shore. He immediately understands that Sergey is up to something sinister. He rushes to wake Alba. Just then, Sergey strikes Direct on the head, knocking him into the water. Alba wakes up at the commotion and jumps in to save him. After struggling for a while, she manages to pull him back onto the boat. But by then, Sergey has taken Kai and disappeared far away. They return home, devastated. Direct is furious. They have lost their child and they have no idea where Sergey has taken him. They begin tracking Sergey using a map, hoping to find any clues. Then, Alba remembers the jar of honey Sergey had given her. They decide to find the island where honey is most abundant, believing that might be where Sergey has gone. After extensive searching, they finally pinpoint an island. Determined to rescue their child, Direct repairs a boat and arms himself with a gun. Alba joins him and they set off for the island. As soon as they arrive, they hear Kai's cries in the distance. They stealthily observe Sergey from afar. Alba whispers, "Shoot him, kill him." Direct hesitates. "I don't think he's alone on this island. We need to be careful." They watch as Sergey moves toward the back of a house. Direct instructs, "You go to Kai. I'll follow Sergey." Alba reaches Kai and finds him locked inside a cage. She desperately tries to break it open, but fails. Frantically, she searches for a key. Meanwhile, Direct waits, watching Sergey's movements. Suddenly, Alba rushes back and says, "He locked our baby in a cage." Direct hands her the gun and says, "Stay here. I'll get our son." Alba stands her ground, but grows restless when she hears Kai crying. Unable to wait any longer, she moves toward him, only for Sergey to catch her. At that moment, Direct arrives, but Sergey points a gun at him and commands, "Do exactly as I say or Alba dies." Sergey ties both of them up and sneers, "I wanted to stay with you, but you rejected me and threw me out like trash." Alba, trying to reason with him, says, "If you let us go now, we can all stay together." Sergey doesn't believe her. He drags Alba into a dark, underground room and orders, "Whenever I tell you, make Kai cry." I love the sound of his crying. Alba, terrified, clutches her baby and begins breastfeeding him, trying to keep him calm. Sergey was standing in front, watching everything unfold. Alba did not like this at all. After a while, Sergey went upstairs. At that moment, Alba escaped with Kai. Sergey saw it happen but did nothing. He then started torturing Direct. That's when Alba stopped. Direct had already lost consciousness. After that, Sergey went out searching for Alba. Hearing the sound of a baby crying, he ran in that direction. When he arrived, he realized that Alba had tricked him. She had played the sound of a baby crying on her phone. Sergey immediately ran back toward Direct. Meanwhile, Alba had already reached Direct. She tried to untie him. Direct then said, "Give me a knife." Just then, Sergey arrived. Alba became frightened and said, "I made a mistake. I will do whatever you say." But Sergey was furious. He shot Alba in the leg. By that time, Direct had cut through his restraints with the knife. He immediately attacked Sergey, and the two began to fight. Alba grabbed a gun and tried to threaten Sergey, but he pushed her down. The fight between Direct and Sergey continued. After a while, Direct struck Sergey with a rod. Sergey managed to fire a shot, but Direct hit him so hard that Sergey died on the spot. Direct had also been shot multiple times. Injured, he made his way toward Kai. Direct kissed Kai for the last time before collapsing to the ground. Alba desperately tried to help him, but by then, Direct had passed away. That night, Alba set Direct's body adrift in the sea. Then, she returned to their previous place with Kai. The story then jumps forward several years. Kai has grown up and is playing football, just like his father. Alba approaches him and shows him a video of his father. Seeing the video, Kai becomes very happy and celebrates just like his father used to. And with this emotional moment, the movie ends. In reality, the way we are using nature day by day, it may soon turn against us. If nature remains peaceful, the world will be a better place. And if the world is good, its people will be happy as well. How did you like today's story? If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments. Also, tell me which country you are following from. We'll talk again in the next video. Until then, stay well, stay healthy. Bye bye.